And welcome to the HS Game Time Live Blitz CIF Championship Edition. I'm Pep Fernandez. This is the big ticket, KG, Kyle Glaser, and of course, our guest analyst, Murrieta Valley head coach Vinny Fazio. We got to thank Adrenaline Athletic Training for hosting us all football season long. And Kyle, we will continue the show as we go into the winter sports, basketball, wrestling, soccer. So as we wrap up football, we're still gearing up for the winter sports as well. But let's get to Coach Fazio real quick and get his thoughts. We gave him Thanksgiving week off. So let's get your thoughts, Coach. Did the finals kind of shake out the way you thought? A lot of ones versus twos, right, in terms of seeding?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the week off. That was nice of you guys. Yeah, you know, I think as you looked at it, the bracket shook down pretty much the way you thought they would. A little bit surprised with Norte Vista knocking off San Gregonio. Great win for Coach Batdorf and the Norte Vista program. But you look at it, and it's mostly the ones and the twos. It's the people you want to see, which, you know, it doesn't make for necessarily always exciting playoff runs, but it does make it exciting when finals time comes around.
The best versus the best, and we'll see what happens on Friday and Saturday night. 2 games on Saturday night as well. But let's start in the Inland Division, Kyle. Centennial taking on Vista Murrieta. I know I sound like a broken record here. A lot of people say just pencil them in at the end of the year and play in the finals. This is the 4th year in a row. They've gone back and forth the last couple of years. Let's start with you and say, what is your Kyle's key to the game? You know, what's it going to be to get that victory on Friday nights?
Well, I have keys for each team. The first for Vista Murrieta is front 4 penetration. Trey Watson is such a shifty, smart running back that by the time he gets to the line of scrimmage, you've pretty much lost the battle. He's going to find a hole and cruise through it. If I'm Vista Murrieta, I want to get penetration. I want to hit him in the backfield at least once, knock him off balance early. The other thing is, though, it's important that it's the front 4 that does it, because if you have to commit your linebackers up to do that, all your front 7, all of a sudden Robert Weber is going to go over the top to Grayson Bankhead and Barry Ware. So I think for Vista Murrieta, they've really got to get good penetration by their front 4, and that's really, I think, the only hope they have of containing Trey Watson as best you can, while not also sacrificing some yards through the air. Then for Centennial, I think, you know, for them, the biggest thing they've got to figure out a way to do is keep Colton Gerhardt in the pocket. You know, disguise your coverages, get a QB spy in there. Gerhardt's a smart guy, so if you have an obvious coverage and he knows who the spy is going to be, he can work his way around it. So I think for Corona Centennial, they have to come in with a good defensive game plan, a guy that's both athletic enough and smart enough to disguise his coverage and keep Gerhardt in the pocket. That way give Austin Malawada and Jalen Johnson a little more time, the defensive ends, to maybe get to him.
Yeah. Now, Colton Gerhardt, a proven runner. He wanted to prove that he could throw as well. Kind of did that at his old stomping grounds, Norco, last week. So, Coach, how do you size up this matchup? I mean, are we going to see another 86-point performance from Centennial, or a little more low scoring than that?
I think it'll be a shootout. I don't know if we'll see 86 ever again. That's a lot
That was amazing.
But, yeah, I think it'll be a shootout. I think Vista Murrieta has a couple of things that gives them a chance, at least defensively, to stay competitive. Their quickness up front, Curtis Bolton, Tyler Cook, the defensive lineman, quickness up front gives them a chance. They play really hard defensively, and that's something that really gives them a chance. Their guys run to the ball, and so sometimes the 5, 6, 7, 8-yard runs that for Centennial sometimes turn into 80-yard runs, Vista can sometimes do some things to keep that under control maybe. I think the key for Vista is they have to do enough schematically to try to keep Weber and keep Coach Logan on their toes. You know, you can't give them the same look over and over again. If you give them the same look 2, 3 times in a row, Coach Logan's going to figure it out, Robert Weber's going to figure it out, and now you're in trouble.
It's almost like a chess match. But these are 2 of the best in the game when you're talking about Coley Candell, right?
Very much so. You're talking about 2 of the best coaches in not just Southern California, not just the state of California, you're talking about the country. You're talking about 2 of the best high school football coaches in the whole country, and it's going to be a chess match. It's putting your pieces in the right place. Both teams have really good players. They're the best players in the Inland Division, maybe the best players in Southern California. Both teams have the pieces. It's going to be a matter of who can get them in the right place and throw your opponent off enough to give yourself a chance.
I think there's the schematics, but there's also the players have to execute. A lot of times they're in the right place, but all it can take, and especially in a game like this, 1 missed tackle at the wrong time, 1 blown blocking assignment, and all of a sudden you give up an 80-yard touchdown, and that could be the difference here.
And that's true. And what both of these teams try to do offensively is they spread the field. They try to put their players in one-on-one situations in space. And so which team will tackle in space? Which team is able to execute that part of the game where you tackle a guy in space? And I predict if you chart who misses the most tackles in this game, the team that misses the most tackles, probably going to lose a football game. The team that tackles the best, probably going to win the football game.
A Division I college who's who, I guess, on Friday night. I mean, if you just look across the field, all these big-time college recruits. One of them, Colton Gerhardt, you know, he went to Norco last week, went up against his former team, had a huge game. We caught up with Colton after the game, talked about beating the Cougars as well as moving ahead to the CIF Finals and taking on a Centennial team that he's very familiar with coming from the Big 8 League. So let's hear from Colton Gerhardt real quick after that big win against Norco this past.
It's going to be a very emotional game, but just like I said, it was going to be another game, and we came out just as good as we always have, and we prepared in the week, and the result was great.
And the results don't lie. You're probably a little more fired up for this one, right?
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of flaring emotions, but I had to keep myself calm a little bit and just take it like another game.
It looks like it's going to be Centennial. What does that mean for you?
I mean, I'm just going to treat it like another game, prepare. Of course, I'm going to prepare a little harder because it's CIF, but we're going to do what we do during the week and get it done.
Now, guys, last year when Colton was still at Norco, they almost beat Centennial. Do you remember that, Coach? It came down to a game-winning field goal, yeah, for Centennial. Yeah. So, I mean, Colton's been right there to beat this team that's kind of given him problems the last several years when he was at Norco, at least.
You know, and I think that familiarity might help him here. I mean, he knows what he's going up against, knows the players he's going up against, knows the schemes. We talked about Robert Weber, you know, figuring out what Vista Murrieta's defense is going to do. Colton Gerhardt probably has a good idea of what Centennial's defense is going to do just because he has that experience. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, that's the little bit of an edge that might be able to push them over the top. I think everyone thinks this will be a close game that'll really come down to a couple of plays here or there and maybe just the smallest of margins.
You know, I think one thing about Colton Gerhardt that people don't understand is how smart he is. You mentioned that earlier, but he's a cerebral assassin. You know, he's not just big, he's not just strong, and he is big and strong.
Yeah.
But he's smart. He understands concepts. He understands defenses. And he can hurt you that way too. As can Robert Weber. I mean, typically when you take the two best quarterbacks, you know, which I think these are the two best quarterbacks in the division. You take the two best quarterbacks, and usually their teams have success. I mean, it's a quarterback-driven game, especially in the era of the spread offense. So you got the two best quarterbacks, two smartest quarterbacks, and that's one of the things that Gerhardt, that's one of the ways he beats you. That's one of the weapons he has in his arsenal.
Now, if you were going to maybe throw out a score or make any sort of bold prediction here, it's going to be close, right? I mean, the last several years, maybe outside of that first meeting in 2010, these two teams have played to that last possession. Whoever has the ball last has a chance to win at least. Similar scenario this time around, you think?
Absolutely. It's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be a four-quarter game. You know, and don't be surprised to see one team get out ahead and then the other team come back.
Kind of reel them back in.
Don't be surprised to see that happen. You know, don't tune it out if one team gets a 14-point lead because the other guys are coming. These are two evenly matched teams. They do what they do. They do it extraordinarily well. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a four-quarter game. It's going to come down to who has the ball last and like Kyle said, who makes the plays, who executes the plays. Because in the end, we could talk all we want about coaches' games, and these are great coaches, well prepared. But in the end, it's a players' football game. The games are about players, and which players make the most plays is going to determine who wins a football game.
All right, guys, over/under on points, 85 combined.
I'll take the under on that one.
I'll take the over.
85.
Talking like a 45 to 40 game,
yeah, 45, 45. I'm gonna go under. I'm gonna go 42-38. 42-38. I'm not gonna say either way because I don't want to get in trouble with either of these.
Last year was
30-38.
Last year 30-28. The previous year 35-28. So they've kind of been around 30. But this year,
senior quarterbacks this year. Senior quarterbacks. These guys aren't getting fooled. Senior quarterbacks. They're gonna score. They're gonna put points up. You know, once you get out of that first quarter, you might have a little bit of a feeling out process, heavyweight fight stuff. But once you get in the second, third quarter, it's gonna be a shootout. There's no way to senior quarterbacks. Athletic players in space, they're going to be a lot of points scored.
All right, real quick, let's go. We've got the highlights called up from last year's. It was the final drive, and everyone in the stadium knew Sua Cravens would be getting that ball in the final drive. He runs in the touchdown with Vista Murrieta trailing 30-22, so that made it 30-28. Vista going for the 2, obviously, and trying to get the tie against Centennial. Nick Stevens, the quarterback last season at Vista Murrieta, he's going to put this one up for, guess who? Sua Cravens in the back of the end zone over there in the corner. Centennial breaks it up in the rain. And that's how this one ended. Centennial won 30-28, went on to beat Narbonne in the Southern California Regional, and they met De La Salle for the state championship. So let me ask you this. Let's even go one further here, guys. The winner of the Inland Division not necessarily punches their ticket, a guaranteed spot at least, into a state regional game. But there's so much credit given to the Inland Division. The winner, regardless of it's Centennial or Vista Murrieta, do you think they get a shot at that Southern California regional game, whether it's the Open or Division I?
I think you have to have them in consideration, but I think a lot of it honestly has to do with how the rest of the divisions shake out this weekend. You know, I think sometimes here in the Inland Empire we tend to think in a vacuum almost of, oh, well, whatever happens here is going to determine how our teams do. This year, that's not the case. You know, we have to see how all the other teams in the area do. The San Diego section's wrapping up their finals. Cathedral Catholic won, which, you know, could help Vista Murrieta, but you have Mission Hills down there. They might get the Open Division berth. You have up here, I mean, Sarah, you know, St. John Bosco. There's so many teams. I don't think we're really going to be able to say definitively a team should or shouldn't have the opportunity until next Monday at the earliest.
Yeah, there's a lot of different scenarios at this point depending on who wins. There's the Open and there's Division I. So there's 2 opportunities there, but like you said, San Diego section already has crowned their champions. We know who won down there and who's still in the running, but there's several other sections that still to be decided.
And you know, the truth is, say it's St. John Bosco and you know, Mission Hills if you want, you can't really argue that either Centennial or Vista Murrieta deserves it over them. So it's almost one of those things where you kind of, as good as these teams are, you have to look at the whole season, what's been accomplished, and where the wins and losses have come from. And I think that we have to see how it all shakes out, but don't assume that the winner of this game punches an automatic ticket into the State Bowl regional game.
And Coach, how about you? Vista Murrieta's only loss was to Cathedral Catholic. They went on to win their Division I championship in the San Diego section. So people are saying, well, if the Broncos win, Cathedral Catholic would eliminate them from a possible bid. But maybe it's not as simple as that.
I think, firstly, we got to look really hard, and everybody's got to look really hard at an open division in the CIF Southern Section, so we don't have to have this argument. So St. John Bosco plays Vista Murrieta, plays Corona Centennial, and now we don't have to sit here and do this BCS deal. Let's get a tournament. Let's get these teams all playing each other. Let's get Gardena Serra and Centennial and Vista Murrieta and Mater Dei and Long Beach Poly and St. John Bosco in the same playoff bracket, open division playoff bracket.
Let's do it.
Come on, guys. Let's get this going. It's the right thing to do, and now we don't have to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to talk about, well, what if Bosco played Vista Murrieta? What if Bosco played? They've already played, and we know who the champion is. Get the best teams, put them in an open division bracket, and now we don't have to. I mean, I love having this discussion, and it makes for good TV and good talk radio. But at the end, let's get the best teams on the field. Open division playoff bracket. Get it going.
You heard it here first. I mean, Murrieta Valley coach Vinny Fazio wants it. He wants to see it. I mean, as a fan, wouldn't that be awesome? These, you know, dream matchups? I
think as a fan, as a reporter, and also as a player. I mean, I was at the CIF Championship banquet, and a lot of these guys talked about how they love sitting in a room with all these other great teams.
Yeah.
They see these kids at camps. They hear about some of these coaches, you know, and there's, you know, Henry Rawlinson sitting there next to you, and how cool that is. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think you'd meet a single player on, whether it's Bosco or Vista Murrieta or Sarah, who would say, nah, we don't really want to play each other. I think they'd love it.
Don't you want to play the best opponents? I mean, there's nobody sitting around at the end of the NCAA tournament draw that goes, well, I'm glad we didn't get in the NCAA tournament because now we can go win the NIT. You want to play in the big tournament.
Yeah,
you want to play the best teams.
That's right.
I mean, imagine a Gardena Serra at Vista Murrieta first-round playoff game.
That's nuts.
Not to mention the financial windfall. You know how many tickets that sell?
I mean, and if you watch some Mater Dei, you know, even Mater Dei Long Beach Poly, which is a huge game, they didn't fill that stadium this week because people are getting used to the same teams playing each other. Let's get Oaks Christian versus Edison in the first round of the Open Division playoffs. I mean, let's get these dream matchups. We can do this every year. It's time to do it. We can do it right now. Let's get an Open Division, and then we don't have to ask any questions. The winner of the Open Division can play either the San Diego champion or the city champion or whoever in the regional, but they're in. There is no argument about Is Sarah better than Bosco? Is Bosco better than Vista?
You'll know.
You know.
On the field.
Get the best teams on the field. Let them play it out. Restore the competitive balance. It's the right way to go. Let's get it done. You guys can do it, CIF. Get it done.
I think you just called out Rob Wygod.
You know what? Someone's got to lead the charge, and we got Vinny Fazio, and we got his back as well on this. Hey, breaking news, guys. David Zink, we want to wish him a very happy birthday. So he's not joining us tonight. It's his birthday, yeah. It is. Did you tell him?
No, he didn't tell me anything.
He's like a ninja. He went undercover, didn't tell anybody, very silently. But it's his birthday. But he wanted to chime in and says he wanted to tell Coach Fazio he has the game at 42-35, but he did not say who he picked to win.
Read the Press Enterprise tomorrow and you'll find out.
Yeah, I'm texting him back. Who wins? I got a feeling he's going with Centennial, but I don't know that for a fact. So we'll see if he hits me back with a text. But also on Twitter, a lot of people are chiming in. And let me read a couple of these real quick. Sean Q says Centennial wins 42-28. He says Robert Weber will light up the secondary. Richard says Centennial's going to win, he says Vista's going to beat Centennial, and he picks Novi winning by 3. And Ronaldo Gonzalez says Citrus Hill beats Novi, Rancho Verde over Heritage, and finally Vista Murrieta over Centennial. So we'll read a couple more tweets throughout the show, but people weighing in.
The guy who said he thought
Centennial
Centennial would win by 2 touchdowns hasn't been watching enough football this year.
42-28, Robert Weber, your boy Webb. So that's who he...
I believe in Robert Weber as much as anyone, but neither of these teams is going to win by 2 touchdowns.
You don't think so?
That would be a surprise.
Yeah.
Well, I got his Twitter handle, so you can hit him up if they win by 2 touchdowns. Be like, Sean, you're the man.
I've been wrong before, but I've also been right before, and I have a feeling I'll be right on this one.
All right, so let's go to our top 10 one more time. This is how we go into the final week of the playoffs here in the CIF Southern Section. Obviously, Vista and Centennial go 1 and 2. Norco still at 3. But let's make note of Citrus Hill climbing up. You know, they're in the final, so they're all the way up at number 7 now. And Norte Vista cracks our top 10. They check in at number 9 after they've reached the Southern Section finals in the Eastern Division. Any problems there?
No, I think it's perfect as is.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, though, we have Rancho Verde and Heritage as 4-5, just below Norco, which is, I think, the right place to have them right now. But does the winner of that game jump and become number 3, maybe even number 2?
That's a good debate. What do you think, Coach? I think maybe Vista and Centennial. I say they stay 1 and 2.
I say Vista, Centennial stay 1 and 2, but just asking other people.
Yeah, if one of those guys wants to schedule Vista or Centennial,
find out on the field.
On the field. But yeah, until one of those teams beats Vista or beats Centennial. I mean, again, look at Great Oak. What's Great Oak sitting at number 10? Great Oak's got wins over both of those teams. I think Vista and Centennial are different right now than everybody else, certainly in this area. And so I think you take Vista, you take Centennial, and then you rank them because those teams are 1 and 2.
I can't argue against that.
Same.
And I think it's been like that since 2009. We weren't here for that far back, but
2009,
like
I was still in college.
You didn't even know who Centennial or Vista was.
That's not true, actually.
Did you?
I knew because growing up in Southern California and playing sports, you know those schools.
I had no idea. I was all up in the BHS Drillers. Your boy Paul Gola up there. Yeah, there you go.
Gola, man.
All right.
Pistol, running the pistol.
That's right, and they do it well. They could be in the Southern California Regional. It could be a BHS Vista Murrieta or Centennial.
A lot of love for Coach Gola. A lot of love for the way they run the pistol. If anybody coaches out there looking to learn how to run the pistol, Coach Gola, man, he's the West Coast representative. They do a great job.
All right, now we move to the Central Division. For the 2nd straight year, the Rancho Verde High School will host the CIF Championship game. Now, last year they lost on that wacky play to Kaiser towards the end, but the Mustangs back better than ever. You know, they won the title 2 years ago in 2011 on the road at Palm Springs. Heritage, a little bit of championship experience. They lost in the finals in the Eastern Division in 2011. So let's go with Coach first. Heritage and Rancho Verde, similar or different? I see Heritage as that physical team, and Rancho Verde more as that sleek, fast team.
Yeah, I think you talk about matchups making fights, and that doesn't mean that Heritage doesn't have some speed, because they do.
Oh, yeah, they certainly do.
And it doesn't mean that Rancho Verde is soft, because they're not. But I think you talk about Rancho Verde, who is a team that wants to spread the field, wants to use their run and their pass, versus Heritage, who's a team that wants to run right over you and use their big backs and run right over you, throw play action just to keep you off balance.
Yep.
I think Rancho Verde has some things they can do defensively, I think, to load the box and maybe, give Heritage, present some problems to Heritage. I think Rancho Verde presents great balance offensively, and maybe in the end, that is the advantage. Rancho Verde's balance versus Heritage's battering ram. But, the battering ram works sometimes, and you never count the battering ram out. And if Heritage can get it rolling, get those running backs going behind that big offensive line, then certainly I think they have a chance, but I like Rancho Verde's balance in this game.
Well, Lima Haihifo and Sione Takitaki aren't your traditional running backs when you say, these battle rams. I mean, they're huge, defensive end size kind of guys.
Absolutely,
so,
and they're not the only story either. I mean, as good as they are, they're good on the O-line. Their guys get after it. They come after you. They knock you on the ground and finish blocks.
And their quarterback, Brett Virgil, I don't know how much you've seen of him, but, man, he's shifty.
We scrimmage
he gets
Heritage, so I know these guys very well. They have more ability to make plays, and they make plays off of play action. And they one thing they do off their play action is they actually block the run play. So if you're reading a key, it looks like run to you, and then they bootleg it out and throw the ball. So they have the ability to hurt you in that way. I just think Rancho Verde's got such great balance and such great quarterback play. I think they're a little bit more balanced, and I think probably that would be the edge. But again, like I said, you never count the battering ram out, especially in a high school game where it's a short game, it's limited possessions. If Heritage can get this game in the 28-point range, that's where they want to play it, and you never know. I think, again, it's a close game. I give Rancho Verde a little bit of edge with the balance offensively.
Now, Virgil, they don't throw much, but when he does, it's usually for touchdowns. It's kind of funny, like you said, they run, and then boom, they hit you. So Kyle's key to the game for each team, right?
Yeah, for each team. For me, I actually think the key for Rancho Verde lies on their offensive line with Tavita Halolilo and Deontay Estes. You mentioned the physicality of Heritage. That's on the defensive side as well. Those guys come at you. They're big, they're strong, they're physical, and they're going to really rough you up on the line. I think Halolilo and Estes and the rest of that offensive line are going to have to be smart in the way they play and picking up the blitzes and picking up where the pressure's coming from. I think they're also going to have to be durable. If they come out and they do their job for a half a play, they're going to lose. Heritage wears you down as the game goes on. So I actually think that for Rancho Verde to win this game, they're going to have to match that physicality up front and deal with it. Yeah. And then for Heritage, I think actually the key for them is going to be in the defensive backfield, getting physical with the Rancho Verde wide receivers. Because if you let those guys run free, it doesn't matter what battering ram you have, they're going to go through the air and put up 60-yard touchdowns on you left and right. I want to see the defensive backs of Heritage get up at the line of scrimmage, get in the faces of those Rancho Verde wideouts, because I think if they don't, nothing else is going to matter.
And I think another thing is, how does this game shake out? Is Heritage able to play from ahead? Or, if Heritage is able to play from ahead, that really benefits them. So how does this game play out early? Is Heritage within one score or ahead? If Rancho Verde starts getting out to a lead, that makes it a lot harder for Heritage the way that they're constructed. They're not really constructed to play from behind. So I think Heritage has to start fast. Get a fast start, try to get a lead, try to get out fast, and then hold on to the lead, as opposed to trying to chase Rancho Verde from behind.
Someone pointed out to me that last year Heritage won this matchup, I think 37-13. Someone said, well, wait, it's the same guys. I don't think it is at all. But even though a lot of the names are the same on Rancho Verde, they're a year older. Shriron Jones missed a lot of time last year. I think now that he has a full season under his belt, we're seeing a much more mature, a much smarter quarterback in all aspects of the game. So I think that you can almost throw out last year's result. This is a new game, new guys, a year bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. And I think it's going to be another one that has, I don't know if it's, I hesitate to say it'll be a cozy victory for either side, but I don't know if it'll be as tight as I expect maybe the Vista Murrieta Centennial game to be. I do think that one team, in particular Rancho Verde, has the ability to, as you mentioned, get out in front a little bit, and from that point, it'll be hard for Heritage to come back.
All right, well, speaking of Jones real quick, we caught up with him as well after the Mustangs exacted some revenge against Kaiser and beat them in the semifinals in the Central Division. So now Rancho Verde's back home hosting Heritage on Saturday night, and we caught up with Jones following that victory to talk about the win and also looking ahead to hosting another CIF championship game on campus this Saturday.
Man, it's so amazing. Like, you can't express how I feel right now. And we back at home, so I mean, right now, I'm kind of used to it because ever since I've been a freshman, we always make a CIF or we win it. So right now, the reaction is we got to go put in work, but at the same time, it's excitement because I mean, everybody out here worked as hard as they can and just have fun, and we came out with a victory, thank God. Last year's game, I wasn't 100%. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you and Pep and everybody know that I broke my leg early in the season. And when I came in, it was the second half, and my boy Malcolm Hill, he was running at QB. And then Coach Duff said, well, we're going to go with you now. Are you ready? And I was like, yes, I am ready. So from it going from last year to this year, I showed them who the real Jonesy is, or what they call me, all these people right here, they call me Hercules. Because no matter what, I'm going to do everything I can to win a football game. And we're just going to go to work, starting that film. I'm going to know every detail about every player on whoever team. And from there, y'all going to see either we going to be up or we're going to be down, and then we're going to get back up.
Kyle, you mentioned it last year. Jones broke his leg in the third game of the season. He eventually came back at the end, not 100% obviously, but he did play a little bit in the CIF championship game.
Absolutely. And, you know, we talk a lot about quarterbacks. Vinny mentioned it earlier. This is a quarterback-driven game. You look at all the seniors, all the juniors, all the sophomores. We talk about Weber and Gerhardt and Blake Barnett. Jones is the guy that, you know, is considered the best college prospect. I mean, Shriven Jones is the guy that everyone's falling in love with, and the offers are coming, but it just tells you about his skill level, his talent level. And if this is, in fact, a quarterback-driven league and a quarterback-driven game, like I believe it is, I mean, Shriven Jones and Rancho Verde has the edge almost against pretty much everybody, especially, you know, Central Division teams.
Yeah, Rancho Verde is a really good football team. I mean, Heritage is really, really good. So I would be slow to write Heritage off. Heritage
I agree.
Really good football team, and they can win this game. They're going to need to do some things. They're going to need to control the football. They're going to need to get out and start fast so they don't have to play from behind. I mean, they're going to have to do some things. They can win this game, but like I said, if you know, Rancho Verde's balance is what makes the difference for them. They're able to run it and throw it. They got a great quarterback play. They play good defense. They're athletic. I mean, they're good football teams. You know, Rancho Verde is very, very good. And you know, you don't go to the CIF finals 4 straight times if you're not very good. So, you know, I think their balance is what's so impressive.
And we put it out on Twitter. Who do you think is going to win? And Matthew Palmer's dad, Matt Palmer, very vocal, proud father, of course. You know, Matt Palmer's a great player for Heritage, and his dad hit me up on Twitter and said Heritage will defeat Rancho Verde and win their first CIF ring. Hashtag unfinished business. We mentioned that they reached the Eastern Finals in 2011, lost the game to Kaiser in the semis last year. I think it was like, what, 10-7 or something like that. It was a low-scoring game. So, and this is a strong senior class for Heritage. I mean, they've got some real ballers on this team. So when they say unfinished business, I mean, this is a crop of seniors that could maybe get this thing done.
They can absolutely win this game. There's no question about it. Every team that's reached this far can win their championship game. It's just a matter of looking at matchups and who we think might have an edge. But once again, we're talking about this level of talent, and the coaches, you know, Broach and Duffy are 2 of the better ones around as well. You know, there's absolutely a good chance for each of these teams to come away as a CIF champion.
Once again, we are live at Adrenaline Athletic Training in Corona. I think it's the Firecrackers, right? The softball team,
yeah,
they call the Firecrackers. Doing work back here behind us, you know, training with Leonard Russell's somewhere around here. And the girl working with him right now is another ASU sweater. I think this place is just run by Sun Devils, you know, in this building, but we won't hold that against them. Anyways,
they might be going to the Rose Bowl.
They might. Big one with Stanford.
And I'll be taking, if they're there, I'm taking that Wednesday off of work, and I'll be at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Stanford and Arizona State with a big game this Friday night.
Saturday.
Is it Saturday?
Saturday.
I thought it was Friday. Okay, Saturday. So now we go to the Eastern Division, and on Twitter, you guys, this is the game that's getting the most chatter. It's not Vista Murrieta and Centennial. It's actually Norte Vista and Citrus Hill. Everyone feeling like they got to get on there on social media and, you know, weigh in on this matchup. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, Norte Vista doesn't even belong there. They didn't, you know, they had to forfeit games, da-da-da-da-da. But we talk about what happens on the field, and I think we've got the 2 best teams here. You know, San Gorgonio had a great run. A lot of people just put them in the finals, but Norte Vista won it fair and square on the field, and now they get Citrus Hill. So, Kyle, what are Kyle's keys to the Eastern Finals?
Well, for Citrus Hill, it's going to be the endurance of linebackers Chris Shum and Zach Kupka. Both of those are 2 very, very good middle linebackers in Citrus Hill's 3-4 defense. But Norte Vista, that double wing offense, they wear you down over the course of the game. Norte Vista scored 26 points in the 4th quarter against Oak Hills and 21 points in the 4th quarter against San Gorgonio. And it wasn't because all of a sudden they just, you know, became that much bigger, stronger, faster. It's because that double wing wears you down. Freddie Hawley and Andrew Martinez Fernandez and even Anthony Perez, the fullback, the line just keeps pummeling you over and over and over again. And so for me, Citrus Hill, specifically those middle linebackers, they're going to have a full tank of gas in the fourth quarter, because if they don't, you can absolutely see Norte Vista all of a sudden turn what was a 5-yard run in the first quarter into a 25-yard run in the fourth quarter. We've seen them do it 2 weeks in a row now. And I really think for Citrus Hill, I can see this game being close enough where it is going to come down to just who has more gas left in the tank at the end. And then for Norte Vista, the thing for them, blindside pressure on quarterback Brett Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth's a good enough athlete that if he sees the pressure, he can duck it. He can step out of the way, take off and run with it. Blindside pressure, that's really going to be the only way they can hope to neutralize this dangerous passing attack that Citrus Hill has. They've got a bunch of receivers all healthy now, and I think that if they try and drop in and cover those guys, it's a losing battle. They have to get to Hollingsworth, but they have to make sure he doesn't see them.
Coach, agree, disagree?
So impressed with the play of Hollingsworth this year as a guy that had to wait his turn, behind a really good quarterback for a couple of years, and to come in and do what he's done is so impressive. He really is a guy that makes it go for Citrus Hill. And then you got the running game, obviously, with one of the best backs in all of Riverside County. So a lot of weapons there for Citrus Hill, well-coached, well-prepared team. I've liked them all year. They've had some games that I thought were close that I didn't necessarily expect to be close. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And to be honest, I think everybody kind of had penciled in San Gorgonio and Citrus Hill in this game. And so it's interesting to see Norte Vista get there. And Norte Vista, all they've done is beat good teams. I mean, they beat Oak Hill. They beat San G back-to-back weeks. Here's another good team. And so you don't write Norte Vista off. I mean, again, I think this is another game where a little bit of it's going to come down to how does Norte Vista start? Is Norte Vista start fast enough that they can get into their thing and do their, but Norte Vista gets down a score, gets down 2 scores, it gets a lot harder for them. The math doesn't work out as well.
Similar to maybe the Central Division, like Heritage and Rancho Verde?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's a similar deal where they've got to play from even or ahead. They can't play from too far behind. Otherwise, the numbers don't work as well, and you let Hollingsworth get going, and boy, he can ball.
We talk about, great coaches. We talked about the Inland Division matchup. We talked about the Central Division. Eric Zomalt and Ken Batdorf. Zomalt had back-to-back titles last year, was an assistant a few years ago, former NFL guy. And Ken Batdorf's, the longest tenured coach in the area. It's not a coincidence that as we go down the championship games, the 6 coaches in those top 3 divisions, those are 6 of the, top 8 coaches in the area probably?
Definitely. These are definitely good coaches. I mean, and typically you don't get to this point if you're not coached. So these are good coaches. Coach Batdorf, I've coached against him before. Coach Zomalt I've talked to before. I've met him. I'm very impressed with both guys. I don't think, again, as good as that is and as big of a deal as schematics and all that stuff is, it's a player's game. And in the end, the players are going to make the plays, and whoever makes the most plays, whoever tackles in space, like you talked about the physicality, if Citrus Hill can stand up to that physicality, that's how it's going to be decided. I think in this game especially, Citrus Hill's going to do what they do offensively. They do what they do, and Norte Vista's going to do what they do, and whoever can make the most plays is going to win a football game. I mean, I think this game is really a players-driven game because I think, like you said, I think the coaching, you got 2 great coaches. It's a push there. It's going to be a players-driven game, and they're going to decide it on the field.
Go ahead, Pep.
Citrus Hill putting 60 on Moreno Valley after we were building up that Viking defense the previous week. Were you surprised with that, Coach? I mean, is the Citrus Hill offense just that good?
The Citrus Hill offense is very, very good. It was a surprising score just because of the way kind of everything shook down, and Citrus Hill went up, and Apple Valley did a great job against them and kind of was able to keep them in check a little bit. So for them to explode the way they did in the semifinals. But again, quarterback play. I mean, how many times we talked about quarterback play, senior quarterback, veteran quarterback, played a bunch of games. I mean, you got that. You got a chance in high school football. If your quarterback play is really good, you got a chance to win games.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward, and that's why I feel like for Norte Vista, you talk about all the athletes that Citrus Hill has, with P.J. Walker, Jacoby Herring, at the end of the day, you have to get to Hollingsworth. If you get those other guys, but you don't stop Brett Hollingsworth and you don't contain him, you're not going to win the football game.
I agree. I think he's the guy that makes it go. The best way to stop those guys is keep them off the field. The best way Norte Vista has a chance to stop those guys is to have them stand on the sideline with their hands in those little hand muffs and not playing, and while your offense is grinding out 3-4 yards of play, 15, 20 play drives, 10-minute clock time drives. Norte Vista can do that.
Yeah.
They can do that. They're designed to do it that way, and they've done it before. That's the best way to stop a team like Citrus Hill. Keep them off the field.
It's supposed to be cold weather. I wonder how that'll affect it too. Ball gets a little harder, a couple drops here or there.
Any bad weather is the Norte Vista's advantage. The worst, if you're Coach Batdorf, you're doing the rain dance, you're doing everything you can. You want cold, freezing rain, mud, whatever you can get. The worst the conditions, that's the Norte Vista's advantage this week.
Guys, let's go to Twitter real quick, of course. Trill Dog. You guys know Trill Dog?
I do not.
Trill Dog says...
We have not met.
No, you haven't met. Novi wins themselves the championship. Hashtag True River Valley League champ. So they're still claiming they still got that
they
River
are.
Valley.
I mean, no matter what anyone else says, I'm working on the preview.
On the
and
field,
putting
yes.
5-8 next to their name just feels stupid.
I know.
They're 12-1. They're the River Valley League champs. They're in the finals because they deserve to be, period. Anyone who says otherwise, you just sound stupid.
David Hernandez says, Norte Vista will do work. They won't give up without a fight. Norte Vista will dominate. They never give up. And let's see, one more. He goes by Vanity. Part of me feels like Norte Vista is a clutch team and will defeat Citrus Hill. So a lot of people on this Citrus Hill bandwagon. Whoa,
hey, Leonard.
Look at this special treat.
I'm coming in here, interrupting y'all show.
Man.
I know last time I gave my man Kyle his jersey. So
Yeah?
I didn't want to leave you out, brother.
Okay, what's
So I
this?
got you a San Diego Charger jersey.
Oh, my
of
God.
me, and I autographed it for you.
Oh, look at that.
Says
Beautiful.
Yeah, Pep, keep rocking the mic.
Oh,
I signed it, baby. So,
Leonard, you're the
Beautiful.
best,
so I
man.
thought I couldn't give one of my man something and not the other.
Oh,
so
man,
I thought
can I put
grab
this
you
on
something.
right now?
You can throw it on, baby. I think you should.
You're the man.
I think you should,
I
man.
appreciate
You can do
this.
the rest of the show with that on.
Oh,
Ryan
shit, I wish
Matthews
I
no
brought
longer my
mine.
favorite player. Leonard Russell's my favorite
That's right.
player.
I got to keep throwing my name out there.
Absolutely. Awesome,
You're
Leonard.
doing a great job, man. Keep
Thank
up
you.
the good work.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Leonard.
sir.
Appreciate it.
Hey, another jersey. There you go.
Leonard-
you know what? State championship week, I'll wear my Leonard Russell jersey. You
Maybe
wear
we
yours.
should. We
Let's
totally
do it.
should.
Vinny, we'll get you one too.
It's a
Leonard.
Leonard Russell theme.
We'll
man.
get you a
Give me the
Long Beach ball. Yeah, there you go. That's the only one we're missing at this
That's the
point.
one we're missing.
Wait, real quick. Did you share with your dad that you had a chance to meet Leonard Russell on the show?
My dad remembers every play of the whole game.
Does he really?
Oh yeah, he can talk about what defense Fontana was in, what Long Beach ran. We were going through, we're talking play by play of the entire second half of that game. I mean, it's amazing to think about. I was a little kid when they played that game, but it's amazing to think about how those guys remember those games.
I want to go back to the Citrus Hill Norte Vista game. I'm surprised on Twitter so much Novi love. I mean, don't get me wrong, I picked Norte Vista, last week, and I feel like I got to stick with that. But Citrus Hill has a really good chance to win this football game. I mean, that staff, those players, I honestly feel like it's either going to be a close Norte Vista win or a Citrus Hill blowout. I really think it's going to go to one of two extremes.
Here's my take. Apparently, Citrus Hill must block social media. That the kids at school couldn't get on there and check Twitter, so maybe that's why all the Novi love
Citrus
today.
Hill. I mean, look, they can put up 40 in a hurry, and as Vinny said, if Norte Vista can't keep them off the field, if they keep giving them chances to, even if you stop Citrus Hill on 1 or 2 drives, if you keep letting them back on the field, they're going to break through eventually. So I feel like if that's how it shakes out, Citrus Hill might win by 3 or 4 touchdowns. If Norte Vista can sustain those drives, really get physical and have those 10-minute drives, then Novi can win. We've seen a couple close games recently, 35-33, something like that. I really feel like Citrus Hill is absolutely capable of winning this football game, as they are every game. They're Citrus Hill.
Absolutely, absolutely. Citrus Hill is really good. I mean, you're talking about a really good, not just a really good football team, you're talking about a really good football program. They're good every year. So, no doubt, Citrus Hill can win this game, and I think field conditions is a big factor. What's the field like? What's the weather like? I think those two things are big factors, but in the end, Citrus Hill's got athletes. They got a great senior quarterback. They're well coached and physical. They're physical up front on both sides of the ball with 2 tough linebackers. Oh yeah, Citrus Hill's got every chance, and obviously they just do a really good job blocking the social media during the day.
Apparently,
Citrus Hill love out there.
Yeah, where are you guys?
Come on, guys, hit the Twitter.
I know you're on. I know they're on Twitter. Just wrong time of the day, I guess. You know what's interesting? Citrus Hill, if you look back last year, that senior class, so many D1
Trevor
guys.
Hodge, KJ Young.
Yeah.
That was, the fact that team was in the Eastern Division just makes you shake your head.
Yeah, but that's what Zomal does.
I think. Yeah,
yeah, Melvin Williams, linebacker. They just reload.
4 D1 guys on an Eastern Division team. That doesn't happen.
Well, and they have it again. You look at their senior class again is loaded, and you look at their, I mean, that's what you have when you have a program. When you build a football program, it's like the old old days of Fontana High School, man. They didn't rebuild; they just reloaded with a bunch of new dudes. They'd return 3 starters, and the 20 guys that stepped in were all really good players. I mean, that's what Citrus Hill does. They're a football program. They're not a team. They're really good. They're going to play. I have no doubt they'll play really good this weekend, and it should be a good game. I think a lot of variables go into this game, contrasting styles and all that. Should be a really good game.
One thing to keep in mind too, Citrus Hill's been here a lot. They've had 3 championships in the last 6 years. Novi hasn't been to a title game since 1976. So you've really got, I want to see if Novi, if they come up, a little intimidated or a little nervous about a big game, while comes out calm, like, oh, we've been here before. That's another thing to watch.
Well, if they can beat San Gorgonio, I don't put anything past Novi at this point.
Ando kills, both on the road.
Yeah.
They can, look, Novi can win any game they play.
Well, they were home for San G.
They were home? Okay.
Yeah, they were home for San G.
They're home on Friday,
Their home is from Friday as well. First game on campus.
Is a factor.
Yeah, first championship game on campus.
Novi can win any game they play. They've proven that. Citrus Hill can win any game they play. They've proven that. That's why they're in the finals.
And Novi on natural grass, too. I mean, Citrus Hill, if they want to play fast, obviously turf plays in their favor.
That is a factor. The Norte Vista field is a factor in this game.
Rain, mud, natural grass. Ken Batdorf dancing somewhere right now. He's dancing.
Slow those dudes down, man. Come on, I've been there. I have been in that situation. Come on, Rain. Come on.
Now, was your dad praying for rain when they were going to play Long Beach Poly and learn to wrestle back in the day?
Anytime you play Long Beach Poly, you're praying for rain.
They're so fast.
Come on, baby. Come on down.
But Leonard Russell will be like, oh, I don't run around you. I'll just run over you instead. So that's,
Leonard Russell's a little bit of a mutter. You get those big backs in the rain. That doesn't bother him much. They're mutters.
All right, now let's go to the East Valley Division, guys. Jurupa Hills taking on St. Margaret's in another case where it's the top seed against the number 2 seed in the division. Jurupa Hills all along, maybe that team to beat. They've looked good all season long. And with defending champion Rim of the World out of the picture, it looks like Jurupa Hills has the title for the taking if they can do it on their home field on Saturday night.
Absolutely. I think Jurupa Hills, the key for this game is actually going to be similar to what Centennial's game plan is. They have to find a way to contain Josh Davis, the Tartans quarterback. Davis is an FCS guy. He's committed to Louisiana Lafayette. Last week, he didn't complete a single pass in the second half, but ran for 175 yards and 5 touchdowns, I believe. I mean, this is a guy who's a great athlete, can get out of the pocket and really hurt you. The last 2 games St. Margaret's has played, it's come right down to the finish, and it's really been a matter of Davis coming up with a big touchdown at the right time because the teams aren't able to stop him racing out of the pocket. If Jurupa Hills can keep him in the pocket, force him to beat them with his arm, the Spartans are going to be in good shape. If they let him run freely, the Spartans are in trouble.
Wait, so he's going to the Raging Cajuns?
I guess he is. And like I said,
what's not the love?
Here we are talking about the Centennials and Murrietas with 20 D1 guys. East Valley Division teams rarely have anyone going to a Division I or an FCS program. So the fact they have an FCS level quarterback, and DJ Wright, Jurupa Hills, is a quarterback, being recruited by some major programs. You've got 2 of the better quarterbacks around that are kind of unappreciated because they play in a lower division.
Coach, quarterback play, right? I mean, there it is. You've touched on all show.
What's the common theme? Senior quality quarterbacks. Now Jurupa Hills quarterback's a junior, but
it's starter since a freshman.
Yeah, but he's a 3-year starter.
Yeah.
Veteran quality quarterback play makes the difference when you get down the road in the playoffs. Because at some point, that guy's going to have to win you a game. At some point, the quarterback is going to have to make the plays to win the game. Our game, I hate to use Murrieta Valley as an example, but our game against Chaparral, we weren't able to make enough plays in the pass game to win that football game. Some point in every playoff run, these guys are going to have to, the quarterbacks are going to have to make the plays down the field to win the game. If you're at this point, your quarterback has made the plays down the field to win the game. You have good quarterback play. Otherwise, you're probably not here. I mean, quarterback play is so important in modern football. Now with the spread offenses, with the spread field, and so what are the key? What are the common themes here? Coaching, quarterback play. Coaching, quarterback play. These teams have the quarterback play, man.
Yeah, I think it'll be a fun matchup, you know. I think Dennis Pope will be our reporter out there, but this is a game that I'd be intrigued to go see just because, you know, those lower division schools, both these teams have talent. St. Margaret's, we talked about, has a championship tradition. Jurupa Hills is here for the first time. It's going to be an interesting matchup, no question about it.
Yeah, Jurupa Hills' first CIF championship appearance. Playing for the East Valley Division title. Next year they move to the San Andreas League. Yeah, so they're going to the Eastern Division.
It gets harder after this year. It's going to get tougher. Get it now, baby.
All right, real quick, let's go through the different divisions and just make a quick pick and just a quick statement of why you're picking that team. So we'll start in the East Valley Division. I'll go Jurupa Hills. I just think they're too talented for an East Valley Division team. Just too much talent on the field for them. And DJ Wright's my boy. Great quarterback. Probably a defensive back at the next level. Just a great athlete overall.
Yeah, I think Jurupa Hills is going to win. Similar reasons. I think that Jurupa Hills is a deeper team. We've seen St. Margaret's actually struggle. They had to really push to beat Big Bear and to beat Rim of the World. I think Jurupa Hills is, they showed with their comfortable win over Rim that they're just a little bit better than I think St. Margaret's is. And I think at the end of the day, talent wins out and they'll win this football game.
St. Margaret's senior quarterback versus junior quarterback.
Oh, man.
Take the senior quarterback, take St. Margaret's.
All right, in the Eastern Division, Citrus Hill against Norte Vista. The Braves at home, as we mentioned. I've got to go with Citrus Hill. I saw them last week against Moreno Valley, and they just reassured me that they're still that team to beat. I think they'll go back-to-back.
You know, I've said on the You Pick 'em show, I said it last week, I'm going to go Norte Vista. And just the fact that they beat San Gorgonio and the fact that they the fact that they beat Oak Hills and the fact they beat San Gorgonio, teams that also spread the field, great quarterback play, explosive running backs, wideouts who can hurt you. The fact that they were able to win those games, even when they gave up 350 passing yards, I think if they can win those games, they can win this game. The Braves are hot. They've got a chip on their shoulder after they had to forfeit the title. They're at home, and I like the way they're playing right now.
You're going to say Novi, aren't you, Coach?
Coach Batdorf, you're my guy, man. I really like you a lot. Citrus Hill, senior quarterback.
There you
Too much talent. But I'm glad you picked them.
Yeah. So I wanted somebody.
I wanted to be all three.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not a sweep here. It's not all three. Okay, in the Central Division, I'll go Heritage. You know, Sharon Jones, let me just preface this by saying he's my boy. I love Sharon Jones as a quarterback. I think he's going to have a huge game. Something about just grinding the ball and just punching, you know, taking the other team's will and just punching that ball, you know, down the field like that and playing some defense. Heritage is just big and physical, big defensive backs. They're big and strong. That just hits close to my heart. I just love that kind of football, so I'll go Heritage in this one. I'm
going Rancho Verde. I think the difference will be that quick strike ability, and they'll be able to pull away.
Common opponent, Great Oak.
Yeah.
Great Oak went to overtime with Rancho Verde and beat them. Great Oak blocked a kick to beat Heritage at the very end, so you had both close games against a common opponent. I'm going to pick Rancho Verde. I like their balance. I think Heritage can win this game. I don't think it's an unwinnable game for them. I think it's a close game. It's a four-quarter game. I think Rancho Verde's quarterback makes enough plays in the fourth quarter to win the game.
Did you crunch that game in that, what's that? That extrapolator.
Well, see, the overtime throws the score extrapolator off because do you count it as a tie or do you count it as the overtime score? It messes up the score extrapolator. Come on, Coach Swastrom.
Yeah. There's always a loophole somewhere. I mean, all right, finally in the Inland Division, Centennial and Vista Murrieta. You know, it's like looking at your kids. Which one's your favorite? I don't know. I guess you. I mean, you can't pick your favorite kid. Here's the deal. I picked Vista Murrieta last year, and as soon as I got to Matt Logan after they won the title last year, the first thing he said to me, Pep, you picked Vista Murrieta. So, Coach Logan, I'm going with Centennial this time around. He called me out last year. I'll go with Centennial for that simple fact. Kyle?
I'm going Vista Murrieta because I think that they're going to get that one extra defensive stop based on the total work we've seen this entire year. Vista Murrieta has shown they have, I think, the better defense, and I think that'll end up being the difference in what'll be a close game.
I'm holding myself out of this pick. I think it's going to be close, but I won't make either of these guys
You're
mad at me.
You're a Southwestern League guy, though.
I'm holding myself out of this pick. Coach Candell and I talked at the All-League meeting last night. He goes, don't pick that game. So I'm holding myself out of the pick for Coach Candell. I know he's watching, too, because he told me he watches it. So, Coach Candell, I'm holding myself out of this one, but I think it's going to be a great football game. Two really good teams, the game everybody wants to see. This is the main event, man. The main event, Centennial and Vista Murrieta.
Do you want to pull a David Zink and just give us a score but not tell us who? I mean, like
42-38. 42-38.
I could definitely see that.
42-38. Going to be high scoring, senior quarterbacks making a bunch of plays down the stretch. Which team could force a turnover maybe here or there, you know, get the ball out or something, you know, make something happen. But two very evenly matched teams, two extraordinarily well-coached teams, two quality senior quarterbacks. How do you pick? How do you pick this game?
I guess on that note, I mean, talk about. I would not be surprised if I'm wrong on all 4 of my picks. I don't think either of you guys would either. All 4 of these games are competitive. I really don't think that there's a really clear favorite and a really clear underdog in any of these games.
I agree. I think that is the the one place where it does come together here is in the finals. Where you got the two bet when the 1s and the 2s win all the way through. Yeah. Once you get to the finals, it was like Division III football used to be for all those years with Whitewater and Mount Union. You knew they were going to blow all the rest of the teams out. Right. But once they got to each other, it was a great game. And so these should be 4 really good competitive football games. It comes down to execution, players' execution. It's a player's game. The players make the plays to win the game. It's a play, as much as seriously we take our jobs as coaches, in the end, this is a game played by 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. The players are going to make the plays, and somebody's earning championship rings this week.
So when you were at the University of Redlands, did you have that target on their back? Did you want to win that D3 title, or was it like, oh, everyone's just kind of playing for?
I wanted to stay as far away from those 2 teams as we possibly could. I once watched Whitewater on film for 5 minutes, and then it hit under my desk for 2.5 hours. Those teams are crazy. It's crazy how good those guys are. But we said we wanted to play them.
Yeah. It sounded good when they were like 2,000 miles away.
They're far away, but don't let them hear us. Don't let them hear us and actually show up. Coach Maynard, man, University of Redlands, great football program, does a great job. Whitewater and Mount Union are different from everybody else at that level. They are so different, and I think that's kind of what Centennial and Vista
comparable, to the Inland Division right now.
Comparable to the Inland Division. They are different from everybody else, and it shows. And so, but it makes it not as much fun for the other 15 weeks. But when you get to that week, it's a lot of fun because you get to see them. They're going to play each other, and somebody's going to win.
Well, that's just the carrot dangling out in front of the Nighthawks right now, right? I mean, you have something to go for, to reach.
You know what? I talk about that. We're worried about ourselves. We worry about getting ourselves fixed. And you watch these teams, you watch these games, and you watch it as entertainment purpose. But our biggest deal is we got to get in the weight room. We got to get stronger. We got to get faster. We got to get better. We got to fix ourselves first. And you kind of you put that to where it is, and you worry about the day-to-day and you fix yourself. And I think that's the way all the coaches try to approach it. And you can't, it's like when you get down 14 points or 21 points in a game, you can't try to, there are no 21-point plays.
Yeah.
You can't try to score 21 all at once. You got to try to get a first down first, and then get another first down. And then, if it works its way back.
Unless you're Centennial. And then you just one shot.
I think they can, somehow they score 21 at a time. I don't know how it works that way.
Okay, before we go, guys, we have to congratulate the Santiago girls volleyball team. They won the Division II Southern California title. Yes, and then now on Saturday they will take on State Powerhouse, a long storied program in Archbishop Mitty from the Bay Area, San Jose area. So they'll play them on Saturday, and it sounds like from our volleyball experts that Santiago is actually the favorite. They're undefeated and the team to beat right now.
And you know what? We just talked about Centennial and Vista Murrieta, how good they are. You're looking for the most dominant team in the Inland Empire this year. It's the Santiago
in any sport, right?
In any sport.
I saw that tweet out there today.
I mean, Great Oak girls cross country, they're right there. But Santiago girls volleyball, I mean, it's really those two. And Santiago girls volleyball, they've dropped one set the entire season.
It's ridiculous.
And they're not playing the Little Sisters of the Poor here. They're calling big tournaments. Then you got Big 8 play with King and all those powers. Then you're in the CIF Southern Section, 2AA, which is, I mean,
some good teams.
Crazy good teams, some of the best talent in the state. And then you're winning state playoff games, sweeping them. You drop one, and then you blow out the rest of them. I mean, the level of competition Santiago's run through, to do what they've done, I think their average set score is like 25-13.
Yeah,
that translates to Centennial winning every game, scoring 86 points every game, and not allowing 56, allowing 20. I mean,
even last night in the Southern California Regionals, that first set, they against Westview from San Diego, they won like 25-7 or 25-9. I forget what it was.
Right.
I was there. That's like saying Centennial goes to the they played Narbonne last year and they win 50-0. I mean. It's like apples and oranges in terms of talent level at that point.
Like I said, Great Oak, girls cross country, they're right there, and Santiago girls volleyball. If you want the two most dominant teams and programs in the Inland Empire, it's those two, and Santiago girls volleyball. I think if they win this one, they get to claim it all to themselves as the best team in the Inland Empire, not just this fall sports season, but for the entire calendar year 2013.
And
I saw some clips. I haven't, of course, seen him play live, but I saw some clips of the outside hitter. I don't know her name. The outside hitter play.
Chanel Hoffman.
She jumps and then hangs in the air and looks around and then decides
where am I going to put this ball.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I've never seen anybody like her ever. She's amazing, and I mean, she's not the only player, but it's just amazing to watch her play. And yeah, I mean, if you beat Archbishop Mitty in women's volleyball, you're really good.
That's like beating De La Salle, you know, beating De La Salle maybe in football.
Phenomenal every single year. So good luck to the girls. If they can beat them, they have accomplished something.
All right, real quick, let's go back to last night. We've got about a minute of highlights and show you how the Santiago girls won that Southern California championship in Division II.
A packed house at Santiago as the Sharks met Westview from San Diego in the Division II Southern California Finals. The winner would advance to Saturday's state championship match. Pick things up in the first game, the Sharks' Jessie Pritchard to Michaela Wolf for the point. Later, it's Natalie Betancourt back to serve. Betancourt coming up with the ace. The Sharks wearing teal hair ribbons in support. Digging this one out. Finds Pritchard for the point. Can you dig it? Santiago storms through the first. Now in the third, Santiago keeps its foot on the gas. Hoffman with the kill. And then it's Richards with another spike for the point. 3-0 on the season. And the Sharks will square off against a longtime state power, Archbishop Mitty, on Saturday for the division.
Congrats to the Santiago girls volleyball team, and good luck on Saturday against Archbishop Mitty. You're available?
I'm available.
You're available. We really appreciate it, Coach Fazio. You have been the best.
Thank you, guys.
I'll go work out, and yeah, it's all good.
I'll join the Firecrackers over here, you know, and pick up some softball. That's right. Fire doing a great job all season long, letting us set up shop here. They let us do pretty much whatever we want. We have the wrestling and soccer as well, and baseball and softball down the road.
How about the bank shot and the long ball? How's that?
There you go. We got to come up with something, or we can keep it the Blitz, I guess, but we'll see. But we want to thank everyone for watching. We'll have a live show on Friday night to get you ready for the championship games on Friday night, and then we'll have highlights on Saturday night from the two championship games on Saturday night as well. For Vinny.